So in this passage of Scripture, Jesus says something that is pretty interesting. You've heard this before if you've been in church any length of time. Ask and you will receive, search and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, whoever seeks finds, and to everyone who knocks the door is open. Now, I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to tell you that this is true, but is it true? Is this a true statement? Because I sometimes have my doubts. I suspect you maybe do as well. I can tell you this for sure, not everything I have asked for has been given to me, and certainly not as far as people are concerned, and not in my spiritual life either as well. So what do we do with this passage of Scripture that says things so definitely, and yet our experience is different than that? Well, I want to say this to you first of all. It might seem simple, but it's not because of this. Following the way of Jesus is about mysteries. It's about dancing along with the story. It's not about following a list of instructions. It doesn't involve sliding tab A into slot B. It doesn't work like that. It is a dance that we do. Do yourself a favor. Don't take this passage too literally, but listen to what it is in there. Dance with it a little bit. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, I'm probably right. So that's one reason it's a little difficult to understand, because Jesus is saying perhaps not exactly as we interpret it literally. Second is this. We often know that we are seeking, but we don't know for what? You ever been on the road traveling and you come to a rest stop and you get out of the car and you walk into the food court or the store that's there and you wander around looking, and eventually the clerk says to you, "Can I help you find something?" And your answer is, "No, because I have no idea what it is that I want. If I see it, maybe I'll know." But you've been there, right? You understand this. You know you want something, but what is it you want? You've perhaps stared into an open refrigerator from time to time. Probably what you want isn't even in there anyhow in the first place. What we are missing is something that we don't know what it is. There was an old Simon and Garfunkel song where Paul Simon expressed this idea beautifully. He's riding on a bus with a woman that he's recently met, and he says, "Kathy, I'm lost," I said, though I knew she was sleeping. "I'm empty and aching, and I don't know why." Anyone remember that one besides me? Okay. "I'm empty and aching, and I don't know why." He's out there riding along the New Jersey Turnpike, counting the cars, looking for something. He has no idea what it is. Do you think he will find it if he doesn't know what it is? So often Jesus was dealing with people who didn't know what it was exactly that they wanted. There is this beautiful place in Israel, a hilltop that overlooks the Sea of Galilee there. You don't have to get all the detail from the picture, but it's a beautiful spot, and Ann and I were there at the same time on a beautiful day overlooking that. And that is, they say, the place where Jesus gave the Sermon on the Mount, where he gave instructions to his disciples. Now, among the disciples, there was a man named Simon, also known as Simon the Zealot. If Simon was a zealot, if that's a correct translation, that meant that he was someone who believed that the Roman Empire should be overthrown by any means necessary. Simon was, in the right circumstances, a terrorist. And he was a follower of Jesus. And he probably got attracted to Jesus in the first place because he thought Jesus was going to bring about the revolution that was going to throw the Romans out, and he was prepared to take up arms and cause that to happen. He was seeking something that he wasn't going to find because he didn't really know what it was. He thought he was seeking freedom. He had no idea that his freedom was not going to be found in a political freedom. He needed to free his mind instead. And he did. And the legend is that Simon the Zealot went on and carried the words of Jesus around the world in many places until he was finally martyred himself. How long did it take him to figure out that what he was seeking was not what he wanted? So that is one of the reasons why it's hard for us to say, if you seek what you want, you'll find it. Here's another reason. It's not quite that simple to find it. Have you ever lost your keys? Okay. Yeah. Now, at what point do you stop looking for your keys?
Never.
When you find them, right? Eventually, hopefully, you'll find the keys, and once you find them, you stop looking, because that's an easy thing to seek. You're looking for something that you definitely know what it is, and you definitely know when you've got it. But life is not really like that, is it? You know what people are seeking right now more than ever, more than anything else? They're seeking it primarily online, they say these days. People are seeking love. They're looking for that person, that one that will complete them. And that's okay, and sometimes that works. But how do you know when you found that person? And how do you know that you will have that person forever? The real truth to seeking for love is that that's a lifetime search. You continually seek it, and you and your partner are going to have to continually work to find that in each other, because it's not something you can just go to and pick up and put it in your pocket again. Searching in life isn't really quite like that. And then there's another problem with seeking, which is you might not be ready for what it is you're seeking. My daughter called me up one time from downtown Portland. She was 16 years old, and it was the Operation Sail, you know, the tall ships, the event. So there was a lot of people in town, and she called me up to say that she had met a couple of the sailors from the boat from Chile, and they had invited her to a party on their boat, and could she go? I said, there's no party on that boat. You're the party. Don't go. She said, oh, he seems like a nice guy. Don't go. The last thing you need to do at 16 years old is get on a boat with a bunch of sailors who've been on that boat for who knows how long. She was not ready for what she was asking. Are you? Are you ready for the thing that you're seeking? You know, you're not ready to drive a car at the same time you feel like you want a car. Are you ready to have that baby or move into that apartment by yourself? We just may not be ready to get what we are asking God for. You know, it's the number one thing people say they want God to give them. They want world peace. And if you want to hear people saying, I want world peace, where's the best place to go to find that happening? Yes, that's right, a beauty pageant. When they ask the beauty pageant contestants what do they want, what do they say? They want world peace. So they are standing on this stage, being judged on their physical characteristics in a misogynist parade of gowns and bikinis designed to make huge sums of money for someone who is not any one of the contestants, while at the same time using up enormous reserves of goods and services and energy. And why have these contestants not gotten the world peace they are seeking? Are they ready for it? Are we? Sometimes we seek what we are not. Now, yes, if you're correct, I know what you're thinking, that although the beauty pageant contestants are up there to be judged, I am judging them, yes. I am making a blanket statement that is probably incorrect. But maybe God has answered the prayer for world peace over and over again, but we keep throwing it away because we're not ready. Jesus had two disciples who said, what we would like, Jesus, is when you become king, can we sit on the right hand and the left hand of your throne? They wanted to be second and third in command. And Jesus' answer to them was, are you ready for that? Is that really what you want? And they thought that it was going to be marching into Jerusalem and having a battle and throwing the Roman army out and then becoming king and their two viceroys. And Jesus says, it's not going to be that. It's a trip to the cross. Are you ready for that? And then there's this problem, which is, yes. Let me go back to this one. How many churches have that sign? All are welcome. We do, right? How many churches have you been to that didn't turn out to be the case? You can't put those words out unless you're ready. I think this is a good church in the sense that we're ready to welcome people, whoever they may be. And many people that are here today have felt that. They've come in and they've been welcomed, and that's good. But you can't get what you want until you're ready for it. Now, on to the next one. Stones for bread. Jesus says, what father who loves his children would give them stones if they ask for bread? What loving parent would hand a child a snake sandwich when they ask for fish? The point Jesus was making is that love means getting what you need, not necessarily what you want. Imagine this conversation taking place in a restaurant. Waiter, waiter!
Yes, sir? Is something wrong?
Well, just look.
I don't see anything wrong.
Well, what do you see?
I see a lovely curried coconut quinoa with roasted local cauliflower under a dill and tofu garnish with a delicious glass of spring water iced green tea.
Green tea?
Yes, sir.
I ordered Moxie.
I thought you would enjoy this more, sir.
I also ordered a double bacon cheeseburger barbecue with a side of poutine.
Yes, that's what you ordered.
So why am I getting this curried oatmeal?
Quinoa. Curried coconut quinoa.
Where is my cheeseburger?
I took the liberty of changing your order to something better.
Better?
Well, sir, I thought it would be better to bring you something you need instead of something you want.
What?
You want fat and salt. You need vitamins and minerals. I brought you nutrition.
What kind of restaurant is this?
Home cooking. We make you nutritious, healthy meals like your mother did.
You clearly have never met my mother.
Now sit down and eat. There are starving children in Blogdovania who would be happy to have this.
And maybe you have met her. Thank you, Lynn. Let me ask you a question about my job. This church hired me to be their pastor. Is my job to bring you what you want or what you need? Yeah. Let's just keep that in mind down the years as we travel together. Here's something else from someone who was preaching about 700 years before Jesus came along. And he said this, that there would one day be a famine that is neither a hunger for bread nor a thirst for water, but of hearing God's words. He was saying that this nation has rejected what God has said for so long that they now can no longer find it. What they had, they threw away. And now they are going to seek it, but it is gone. It's a pretty frightening prospect. He was warning people of ancient Israel that this famine of hearing God's words was coming. Not just any old famine, but a famine of knowing God. He spoke of the possibility of a time when no one would have any sense of God being present. And it's not like God was just shouting down at people randomly. It wasn't like God was yelling at people and they were hearing it and now that had stopped. But an awareness of God. Not just that people were hearing, but an awareness of God is what is meant here. That people would begin to feel like there wasn't, that God was distant from them. Awareness of God is at the base of who I am and what I am about. I speak sometimes of having been touched by Jesus, and I certainly don't mean that literally, but it is what it feels like at times. And what would my life be like if suddenly my awareness of God was taken away, if suddenly there was no sense of the nearness of God, no sense of that which transcends this experience? Like, what would my life be like if suddenly that were gone? If we ask to be touched by God, Jesus says, we will be touched. If we seek to know God, Jesus says, if we seek, we will find. Despite all the things that get in the way, if we seek to know God, God will be found. And if we knock on that door will be opened. Jesus says it's open right now. Amen.
You've been listening to a sermon by Reverend Stephen Carnahan, pastor of High Street Congregational Church in Auburn, Maine. If you feel inspired by what you hear, we invite you to join us in person for worship services every Sunday morning, beginning at 10 o'clock. Of course, you can always listen to Steve's sermons on the web. New sermons are posted every Monday by midday. Please take a moment to explore this website for more information about our church, or visit our Facebook page at High Street Congregational Church, UCC. We hope that God's presence will be known to you every hour of every day, and that God's blessings will rest upon you now and always. See you next week.